The traffic ticket was the straw that broke the camel's back. Generally, Casey adored her little cottage. It was the ideal size for her, and strolling distance from the train, a little privately claimed grocery store, and an extraordinary mom and pop breakfast coffee shop. The main issue was that a line of past inhabitants had made some meaningful difference in the DIY activities of questionable quality, and the pails of mail they actually got at Casey's. Location: Monicaville Cove was the most exceedingly terrible one. For the wide range of various apparitions of occupants past, Casey just got promotion mailers and an intermittent solicitation for a cause gift, yet for Monicaville Cove, she generally got genuine stuff, envelopes that obviously contained emergency clinic bills or protection arrangements, even a periodic bundle. It was as though Monicaville Cove had never tried to tell anybody she didn't live there anymore. Typically, Casey just composed return to shipper on these things and quietly hoped everything would work out for Monicaville Cove of Karma getting her stuff. At the point when the radiant red envelope from the Traffic Authorization Division showed up at her letterbox, declaring that she'd run a red light furnished with a computerized camera, which made Casey twisting into a minor fit of anxiety. And it ended up being addressed to Monicaville Cove, she concluded she'd had enough. It had been her home for almost 5 years now. It was the ideal opportunity for Monicaville Cove to assume some liability and begin refreshing her location. Casey had never really met the lady, however in the wake of getting such a large amount her mail, Casey positively felt like she knew her. All Casey really had some awareness of the baffling previous inhabitant was everything the landowner had said to her in passing, which was that Monica was a short-term nurturer at a nearby nursing home, however that adequately was. That evening, she called the nursing home and requested Monicaville Cove. Marvelously, she was moved right to her. "Monica talking," said a lady on the opposite stopping point. "Hello," Casey started. "This will sound unusual, yet I live in your previous house." "Gracious," Monicaville Cove said, sounding dazed. "Anyway, I actually get a ton of your mail," Casey proceeded, "and this week I got a traffic ticket addressed to you, so I figured you would need to know, and perhaps update your location." Monicaville Cove faltered in disturbance. "Goodness, that is, I don't claim that vehicle anymore. I gave it to my cousin. The ticket should be his." "So, you're getting tickets for a vehicle you as of now not own at a location where you presently not live?" Casey couldn't keep the edge out of her voice. She wasn't incredible at adulting herself, yet this was an unheard of degree of aloofness. "It seems like it very well may be really smart to contact the DMV and, update your data. Kindly don't call me at work once more," Monicaville Cove snapped. Casey heard her throw the telephone down, and the call finished. Casey got a Sharpie and composed return to sender on the traffic ticket in the greatest letters conceivable, going over each line a couple of additional occasions so it was quite dull. "I genuinely want to believe that they chase you down, Monicaville Cove," she thought angrily as she dropped it back in the letter box. The following morning, Casey was stirred by an uproarious crashing clamor, and raced into the family room to find that her feline, Snickers, had thumped her tablet off the arm of the love seat, sending it colliding with the ground and breaking the screen. Indeed, isn't unreasonably extraordinary, Casey thought. She'd needed to redesign at any rate, she simply didn't have the cash at that point. At the point when she got back after working all day the following day, shockingly, there was a bundle on the doorstep. Casey was certain she hadn't requested anything, so its essence was confusing. Captivated, she took the bundle inside promptly and tore the container open. Inside was a shiny new tablet. Simply the one she'd needed, as well. Casey was dazed. She would have certainly requested a trade for her wrecked tablet. For good measure, she checked her bank balance. No new acquisition of this size. Then, at that point, how? Was it a gift? She didn't remember referencing the incident to any of her companions. Perplexed, she really looked at the bundling for a sign and found the response. The bundle was addressed to Monicaville Cove. Outrage rose inside her. Guess what? Casey told herself. In the event that Monicaville Cove can't be tried to advance her mail for a considerable length of time in the wake of moving out, it's her own shortcoming. "I'm keeping this tablet," she settled, "as restitution for giving me that alarm with the traffic ticket. All things considered," she contemplated, "it displayed at my entryway exactly when I broke the other one. I'm intended to keep it." After 2 days, Casey was destroying her kitchen, searching for the mixers for her electric hand blender. She really looked at each cabinet and bureau, however she could find one of the two. 2 days from that point onward, one more bundle for Monica Volkov was hanging tight for Casey when she got back. This is getting silly, Casey thought, acquiring the bundle and tearing it open rather strongly. To her wonder, it contained a fresh out-of-the-box new blender. Throughout the following not many weeks, Casey felt no misgivings about opening any of Monica Volkov's bundles. Since she was opening them rather than simply sending them back, however, Casey was starting to see a theme, and it terrified her a piece. The bundles appeared to be all the time to contain something she wanted, and in every case precisely when she wanted it to appear. When Snickers utilized her work area seat as a scratching post, after 3 days, an enormous box was perched close to home, containing the most recent in ergonomic seating. When the sound went out on the TV, inside 7 days, another sound framework, complete with subwoofer, showed up for Monica Volkov. She hadn't realized she would require the voltage analyzer when it appeared, yet the following time she turned on the light in the pantry, she found that the inadequately DIYed light apparatus in there could have been done working and would require a substitution. Another pair of shoes when she was unable to think that she is old ones, some dim running pants in precisely her size, 6 gallons of apple juice vinegar, that one remained totally strange, all conveyed to Casey's location for the baffling Monica Volkov. At the point when the crate of kitchen garbage sacks showed up similarly as Casey utilized the final remaining one, she was beginning to go nuts a bit. Confounded, she called the nursing home by that evening, and requested Monica Volkov. In contrast to last time, after a couple of seconds on hold, the lady who'd picked up the telephone gotten once more, without moving Casey to Monica Volkov. Monica says she's asked you not to call her at work. However, this is significant, Casey stammered. I continue to get conveyances for her, bundles and stuff, and it's getting truly. Monica is regulating medicine to the occupants at this moment, the lady cut her off. I'll need to request that you consider her when she's not at work. Have a decent evening. With that, she hung up. Casey was completely creeped out. She was unable to shake the inclination that somebody, possibly Monica Volkov, was watching her, or maybe tuning in on her. That evening, she didn't rest soundly. The following day, Casey returned home from work to an exceptionally wiped-out kitty hurling in the pantry. Subsequent to surging her little man to the crisis vet, she was told Snickers would need to remain for the time being for something like a couple of days, so it worked out that Casey didn't rest very well any of those evenings. By the same token, after 3 days, Snickers wasn't totally back to typical, however he was basically recuperating sufficient that the vet permitted her to take him back home. The possibility of leaving for work with the little man in such unstable shape agitated her stomach, so when she got back from the vet with her feline, she was, for once, agreeably unsurprised to see a bundle close to home, the arrangement of cameras she requested. She set one up in each room, counting the pantry, which was clearly Snickers' picked vomiting spot, and left for work the following morning with a touch more genuine serenity, realizing she could essentially watch out for the kitty. Once at the workplace, Casey turned on her PC and opened her program to the live feed of her front room. Giggles was sitting in the window, looking completely fine. Breathing a moan of alleviation, she continued with her working day, keeping the camera feed toward the edge of her screen so she could watch out for the feline. For the initial 20 minutes, all was well. Then, at that point, as Casey was chipping away at an especially dreary report, development in the camera's casing grabbed her attention. Casey investigated with perfect timing to see her front entryway open, and a more unusual stroll in. The interloper was a lady with dull hair, wearing what looked, in the grainy film of the camera feed, to be clinical cleans. Casey's heart jumped into her throat as she watched the interloper tinker with the door handle briefly and eventually eliminate a key from the handle, then, at that point, place it in her pocket. Casey went after her telephone and dialed 911. What is the location of your crisis? The administrator asked, as Casey watched the weird lady start off a couple of tennis shoes and leave them close to the front entryway. Those tennis shoes, Casey thought with a nauseating inclination, looked truly natural. Casey hurriedly gave her location and proclaimed, "There's somebody in my home. Are you in the house?" The administrator inquired. "No, I'm watching a live feed." Casey began to clarify as the lady left the parlor. Frantically, Casey tinkered with the camera controls, attempting to recollect how to change to different rooms to see where the lady went. "You're observing from a distance and you saw somebody go into your home. the administrator rehashed. Do you perceive the individual? No, Casey said. She let herself in through the front entryway with a key, yet I don't have any idea how she got it. It's not anybody I know. The lady returned in the parlor with her cleans collapsed over her arm, presently wearing one of Casey's t-shirts and the pair of running pants that had shown up for Monica Volkov. We've dispatched an official, the 911 administrator told Casey. With a notice to keep. She had her phone with her so the cops could call her back with an update as she anticipated their arrival. All Casey could do was sit at her desk and watch them with bated breath. The woman had drank all of her Coke. Casey stood there watching Mom turn off the TV, pat Snickers a couple more times, and yawn. She stood up and stretched before leaving the room, picking up her empty soda can and scrubs. Casey flipped through the camera feeds until she came across the woman in the kitchen, dumping her soda can into the garbage. She then exited the kitchen and walked to the back of the home. Casey pursued her once more, spotting her in the laundry room's CCTV